time. I'll just start with the opening remark, and mind you, the meeting is being recorded, is now recorded. We'll just take it from here and then get our resource person to speak. Okay, so Joy is here. So Joy, I'll just give the opening remark and then hand over to you if you can hear me. So the question, and as it says, to always begin with the why. Why do we have to learn proper pronunciation? Why? There's this argument out there out there where people who may not think about proper pronunciation as something that they should focus on. There's an argument that the person who is German has a German accent and pronounces things in English the German way. The person who is French has a way that he speaks and pronounces things in English. So the question in the popular parlance is, why do we then need to take time to learn to pronounce these things properly or pronounce English the way it is supposed to be pronounced? If you walk around if you're in a workplace, for example, where you have a lot of people around you, you can, different cultures, people pronounce things in different ways in English, and a lot of times it could be even a way to judge people and say, hey, I think this person may not be that smart because he or she is not able to, doesn't pronounce this properly. So the big question really, and that's what Craig is going to come and tell us today, is why do we need to learn pronunciation? And then we'll also take time to go deep dive, into pronunciation and find out the nooks and crannies, the hoops that we need to cross to learn how to pronounce properly. I believe that at the end of today's session, we would have learned a thing or two about pronunciation and become better at pronouncing. I would say some of the things that my parents or my dad used to tell us then is, when he wants to tell us something very deep, even when he's speaking English to us, he just switches and speaks it in my local dialect. And he speaks it very specifically. There's a way to pronounce some things in my dialect there, and they're very specific in the way you pronounce it. And it looks like when it's properly pronounced, you get a deeper meaning and understanding of what that particular thing what they're trying to pass across means. So in my mind, I would think that when you learn to pronounce English very well or properly, you have a deeper understanding of what that particular thing you're talking about means, and you can even use it better in your everyday life. So that's just me trying to set us up for today's meeting, and I hope that we have a wonderful, wonderful time. And I hope you have your pens, papers, jotters. When I looked at the flyer and I saw Toastmaster Craig trying to tear his mouth wide open, I just hope that's not going to happen today in the meeting, but let's see how it goes. I'll hand over to Joy to introduce the resource person that we have today. We're so happy to have you. Joy, over to you.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster Uche, aka Presido. Good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly.
Clearly, yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I'll quickly go into introducing our guests today.
I think I'm just there, frankly. What Felicia likes to call languishing.
Okay.
I wasn't for a second.
Please go ahead.
Okay, okay. So Craig O. Esowhode is an English doctor, a spelling bee pronouncer / organizer, and an elocution instructor. In 2009, Craig was awarded the Best Student in English Phonetic Transcription at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, training school. And in 2016, after the intermediate program, he graduated with a distinction. He is the mastermind of Craig's Communication Clinic, an establishment that helps children and adults to achieve proficiency in business communication, use of English, and presentation skills. Remarkably, Craig has earned the Linguistics Master Award from the Manhasset Port Washington Toastmasters Club, New York, United States of America. Besides, he is the current Vice President of Education of Merit Toastmasters Club. What's more, He is the reigning District 94 International Speech Evaluation Champion. Wow. I myself am itching to hear what Toastmaster Craig has for us today. Without further ado, I'd hand to Toastmaster Craig to go ahead with the session. Over to you, Toastmaster Craig.
Toastmaster joy. It is often rationalized with eloquence that thank you is the recognition of humanity. In that connection, we accept my best gratitude for the unparalleled magnificence of your introduction. Fellow Toastmasters, friends, and guests, if you can hear me loud and clear, please give me the thumbs up. All right, just give me a moment now to change to my laptop because I do not want any interruption with this internet connectivity. Right. Can you all see me?
Not yet. Okay, yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, then, right. That's brilliant. Aha. And I would like the Zoom master to please give me the right to share my screen. Ladies and gentlemen, each time I peruse the Competent Communication Manual produced by Toastmasters International in the context of the Legacy Educational Program, something would always stand out like a magnificent mansion on a street festooned with small miniature bungalows. What's that? It says that good grammar and proper pronunciation are major factors in our ability to influence our audience. That project says that good grammar and proper pronunciation give us credibility as speakers. It went further to say that good grammar and proper pronunciation would make our presentations sparkle with energy, and we would have great influence over our listeners, of our audience. Project 4, in my humble estimation, eloquently demystifies the unbridled significance or importance of proper pronunciation when it comes to the realm of speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, when I was in secondary school, I was authentically appalling at pronouncing words properly. I knew nothing about pronunciation. I had not the foggiest idea in regards to the mechanics or the rubrics of proper pronunciation. I would pronounce words without recourse to phonetic accuracy. But guess what? Things changed dramatically when I failed mathematics in the West African Senior Secondary School examination in 1999. When I was preparing to resit mathematics, I discovered that I was becoming increasingly comfortable in the company of dictionaries. I was becoming increasingly comfortable listening to presenters, announcers, reporters, correspondents on the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC radio service. And I would spend significant amount of hours every day listening and looking at the dictionaries of the English tongue. And I did this for 10 years. Over the course of my university days, I kept on doing these things. And the more I did them, I realized that I was improving or ameliorating my pronunciation competence. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to share practical or actionable insights with you that you can begin to engage in to upthrust the gravitas of your pronunciation skills. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for that? If you're ready, give me the thumbs up now. Oh, I see overwhelming thumbs up already. Right, that is brilliant. Then we are going to move into the message. First and foremost, there are certain facts that you've got to bear in mind if you must improve upon your pronunciation gravitas. And those facts are, number one, is that research has proven consistently that the first thing that people will notice the moment you open your mouth to speak in English is your pronunciation. And this is not restricted to English. It encompasses other languages. The first and the biggest thing the people will notice the moment you open your mouth to articulate, to speak, is your pronunciation. And my late mentor, Richmond Dyer Johnson, would always tell me something that I will never forget. The moment you open your mouth, you're telling the world who you are. And this is the reason why we've got to pay attention to our speaking skills. From the way you speak, the world is able to know your level of education. From the way you speak, the world is able to tell where you live. From the way you speak, the world is able to tell your circle of friends, those you hang out with. All of these factors will reflect in your speaking skills. That's number one fact that you have to bear in mind. The second fact you have to bear in mind is that there is no correspondence between pronunciation and spelling in English. And this, in my humble estimation, is the pivotal reason why most of us struggle with pronouncing words properly. We feel that English is a phonetic language, like Finnish or Spanish, wherein the way the word is spelled is the way the word is pronounced. Or when you hear the word, then you can spell the word. English is not like that. And this dawned on me more profoundly when I became the official pronouncer of the Spell It segment of the Continental Kiddie Show CKS on TVC. You cannot pronounce words the way they are spelled. In other words, you cannot rely on the spelling of a word to pronounce it properly. And that is why it is spelled as competitor, but the pronunciation is competitor. It's spelled as chocolate, or it's chocolate. It's spelled as comfortable, but it's comfortable. It's spelled as entrepreneur, but it's pronounced as entrepreneur. The other thing I would like you to know about is centered around the fact that pronunciation is a physical act. Most of us, we view pronunciation from the standpoint of cognitive psychology. Cognition. What I need is the understanding, that's all. It's a physical act. I recall my correspondence with Toastmaster Ekuchi James when she said, Toastmaster Craig, we need your picture. And I sent that picture to her. And I would suppose that she was thunderstruck. She was hit like an intercontinental ballistic missile. What has this picture got to do with pronunciation, for crying out loud? And she was curious, she was inquisitive enough to ask me, said, what is the link between this picture and the thrust of the engagement? I told her, that is a speaking exercise that can help to strengthen the organs of speech. Principally because when you are speaking, when you are pronouncing words, you are utilizing your organs of speech. For example, your jaw, your lower lip, your upper lip, your tongue, your upper teeth, your lower teeth. So when you do that, you are strengthening these organs that you require when you are speaking or pronouncing words. It's a physical act. It's like playing football or boxing or running. I'm going to show you three quick exercises that you can do every day to strengthen your organs and to prepare them to serve you with indescribable magnificence. The first one is the picture that is emblazoned on the flyer. The second one is this. The third one would help you to ameliorate or boost not only the power of your voice, but the power of your organs of speech. You have to assume that you've got a ball in your hand and you've got to throw the ball like this. This is a volcanically, wonderfully powerful exercise that you can do every morning, and if you can, every evening. They authentically would help you to upthrust your finesse when it comes to pronouncing words with recourse to accuracy. One more thing I'd like to inform you about is that when it comes to pronunciation, there are no excuses. One of the principles of communication is correctness. Communication has 7 principles. We call them in introductory communication textbooks the 7 C's. And one of those 7 C's is correctness. You have to strive for correctness. You have to be correct. No excuses. Over the years of working painstakingly, furiously, tempestuously on my pronunciation, I have learned a plethora of pointers or hints that I would like to share with you now. These are the hints that I want to share with children when I spend time to teach them at our communication clinic. Let me share my slide with you now. The first thing you have to be aware of if you want to pronounce words properly, it is paramount for you to know that pronunciation has nothing to do with spelling. And I mentioned this earlier. Pronunciation has nothing to do with spelling. And this is the bane, this is the foundation. This is why most of us pronounce words incorrectly. We rely on the spelling of words. Let me just share something with you now. Please, if your microphone is on, kindly switch. All right. Can you all see my screen now? If you can, please say absolutely.
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 Right. Thank you very kindly for that. This is a chart. It's called the International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA. And if you are a student or a devotee of historical range and accuracy, permits me to state unequivocally or unflinchingly that the International Phonetic Alphabet came into existence in 1888. It is the brainchild of the International Phonetic Association, the IPA. The IPA was formulated in 1886. That is, in my humble estimation, what I would like to describe as the historical trajectory of the International Phonetic Alphabet. This is the chart, and there are 44 sounds existent on the chart, or that are prevalent on the chart. 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds. How many letters do we have in the English alphabetical system? Please put that in the chat box. How many do we have? We have 44 sounds. How many letters do we have in the alphabetical system? How many? Put that in the chat box if you can. Let's have a look at that. How many do we have? 26. You're absolutely right. 26, you're absolutely right. You are spot on. Guess what? In those days, our English teachers were not acutely or blissfully aware of the mechanics of these sounds. I couldn't rely on any of them. In fact, there was a day one teacher came, one of my English teachers came to the classroom, and an inquisitive student got up and said, "I'd like to ask you a question." The teacher reluctantly said, "All right, let me listen. What question do you have?" I said, I was reading a novel and I stumbled serendipitously upon a particular word. How is that word pronounced? And then the student spelled the word on the board. What an absurdly quirky English word. Teacher said, "Oh, this one, tete a tete." Unbeknownst to him, that word is correctly vocalized as tete-a-tete or tete-a-tete. But he said tete-a-tete. What he did was to utilize the sounds of his local language to pronounce that word, which enters the vocabulary of English during the Norman conquest of England in 1066. I couldn't rely on my teachers in those years. I had to do it on my own. There was no one to guide me. And because of that, it was painstaking. Sometimes I would bleed because I would put my tongue and the teeth in the wrong positions and they'll clash and I'll begin to bleed. My journey was bloody because there was no one to show me the way. No mentor, no teacher, no instructor, no one. I had to do it all by myself, and I began to understand the sounds gradually. I spent hours and hours every day, and this is something that you can achieve. They appear quirky, but with practice, with effort, with patience, you can master them. Here is the good news, ladies and gentlemen. If you have sufficient mastery, or if you have an understanding that is majestically mesmeric of the sounds, then you'd be able to pronounce any English word that is available in your dictionary. You'd be able to pronounce it. Let me share something else with you. A full class would be insufficient to crystallize these sounds, all right? But I have some tips to share with you that can transmogrify your pronunciation competence, or that can take your pronunciation from where it is now to the dizzy heights of communicative competence, or to make your pronunciation stand out like a brightly colored ostrich amidst a pandemonium of parrots. All right. Let me share something else with you now. These are some pointers. And this is how I feel that you can achieve that goal. Number one is that you have to pay attention to how you vocalize words that contain the TH sounds. Most of us are oblivious to how words that contain TH sounds are pronounced. For example, I went to a Toastmasters meeting yesterday and I heard someone, the person said, oh, the theme of this month. That's phonetically objectionable. The theme of this month. This is a crime in the jurisdiction of phonological protocol and is known as TH stopping. When you pronounce these words, theme, anthem, truth, a think, thought, month, path, pathways, it's known as TH stopping in the jurisdiction of phonological protocol or in the jurisdiction of standard English. It's TH stopping. I understand that these sounds are not existent in our local languages, and that is why we struggle to pronounce words that contain these sounds with recourse to phonetic range and accuracy. How do you pronounce words that contain TH sounds? There are two of them. You have the voiceless one, you have the voiced one, right? How many of you are familiar with this? If you're familiar with that, please raise your hand. If you're familiar with voiceless TH, voiced TH sounds, please raise your hand if you're familiar with that. Right. But if you can hear me loud and clear, please give me the thumbs up. If you can hear me loud and clear and you are learning something new today, give me the thumbs up. All right. All right. I have the assurance now that the engagement is cognitively engaging for you. All you have to do is to put your tongue in between your upper and lower teeth and blow air through. That's it. Right? If you can, you can unmute your microphone and give it a shot now. Pronunciation is a physical activity. Come on, if you can. Let's do that, everyone.
Theme. Anthem.
Think.
Theme.
Think.
Thoughts.
Thoughts. Month.
Right.
Their faces.
Right.
This
This is
Theme.
right. Right. Many thanks for that. The
Theme.
impassioned rationale, the impassioned thinking behind this engagement is to open your eyes to certain things that require your attention, to upthrust your credibility, authority, and respectability as speakers and leaders. If I'm able to achieve that, then I will be delighted. Look at this word, theme. The theme of this month is theme, anthem, truth, think, thought, month, path, pathways, and the like. And you can see the symbol right there in front of it. We call this a soft TH sound. When I'm teaching children at our communication clinic, we call this the soft TH sound, so we don't bewilder them. But for adults, for an adult session, the voiceless TH sound. It equally has the hard version, right? And the hard version is preponderance in function words, structure words. For example, the, them, those, that, this, together, and another, right? So that's number one. If you can pay attention to how you vocalize words that contain the TH sounds, then that will elevate your pronunciation skills. In the UK, there's a brand of English known as Cockney. And in this brand of English, they'll say, oh, theme, I think. And then brother becomes brother. Together becomes together. Another becomes another. I wouldn't encourage or entreat you to succumb to this type of dialect of English. Stick to what is intelligible and standard across the world. Received pronunciation. All right? That's number one. Number two is that, what about if you have to pay attention to how you vocalize words that end in the ION suffix? Most of us don't vocalize these words properly. We say presentation, we say communication, we say information, we say action, and education, the education program. If you can pay attention to the suffix of words, that would upthrust your pronunciation finesse. Shun. And when you're doing it, there's going to be the protrusion of your upper and lower lips respectively. Presentation, communication, information, action, education. It's a physical act. You can see the difference in the movement of the mouth. Presentation, communication, information. I am even exerting more energy when I pronounce these words improperly or incorrectly. That's what I have observed over the years of paying attention to pronunciation. Communication, presentation, shun, right? I would love you all to unmute your microphones and pronounce these words: presentation, communication, information, action, education. Let's do that.
Presentation.
Presentation.
Communication.
Action.
Information.
Education.
Action. Education.
Right. Thank you all very kind. Well done. Right? You can see there is something about this suffix. Right? You can see the transcription right there. On transcription to pronounce words properly, not the spelling of words. The spelling would mislead you. Over the years, pronunciation has evolved, but the spelling system has remained the same for centuries. As a result of that, you've got to pay attention to the transcription of words, right? There is another angle to the ION suffix. Let me just share that with you now. Another angle to it, you can see the jeune there, jeune, all right? Aha, you have decision, not decision, decision, confusion, vision, persuasion, television. See that? You can see the difference. You can see that palpable or pronounced dichotomy between the two. It is of paramount significance for you to bear this palpable or manifest distinction in mind. It must be in your back pocket as a speaker and a leader, because your credibility, your authority, your respectability rely on these things. Let me share another tip with you. The other tip that I'd like to share with you now has to do with words that end in AL suffix. AL suffix. Right. I'm going to explain that to you now. AL suffix. And you can see some examples beneath. We say local, general evaluator. We say normal, abnormal. We say physical meeting, federal government, Toastmasters International, informational, when you are reading aloud the intent or the purpose statement of a speaker's oration or a speech assignment. The speech can be informational or humorous or any type that the speaker chooses. Definitely not. Understand that when it comes to words that end in the AL suffix, they have the same pattern of pronunciation. We don't vocalize the A because the position of the A, phonetically speaking, is occupied by what is known as the schwa sound, which is a short vowel sound. As a result of that, we ought to say local, general evaluator, normal, abnormal, federal government, Toastmasters International, informational, physical meeting, animal, not animal, total, not total. This is vital, not vital. This is crucial, not crucial. Artificial. Potential. Take note. If you have this understanding, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests, you would have learned how to vocalize a panoply or a litany of English words properly. Does that sound exquisite? If it does, give me the thumbs up. All right, I feel encouraged and empowered. Toastmaster Ekochi, are you there? Our humorous speech contest champion. I served as the contest chair in that contest. Ekochi, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here. Toastmaster Craig.
Ekochi, how many more minutes do we have for this session, please?
So I had sent you a personal DM to say that we had 4 minutes at 12:46. So I think we to round up the segment so that we can make time for questions.
All right, but the segment began late, by the way. Did you add that as well? Did you take that into consideration?
I did. So the thing is, we're trying to utilize the break time. A lot of people on this call have to go back to work. They have a 9 to 5. So we try to squeeze the meeting into the 1 hour break time. So I don't know if you haven't finished with your material, maybe we can do 5 more minutes and then we proceed to questions, and maybe shorten the question segment.
All right. Now, what I'm going to
So
do
that we
now,
don't
I'm gonna
overshoot.
pronounce-
I'll just say something.
That's all right. That's all right. That is all right. What I'll do now,
Tim,
please go on and
just
speak.
give me a minute. yes, I think that I hope I used the TH properly. I think that what we're getting from you is so much, and we would need you to come again. I think that there's so much more that you have to give to us. You've only given us a few tips, and it looks like there's so much. I would like to appeal that this would be the first session of phonetics of proper pronunciation, session 1, and we would come back to you again to get another time to have session 2, because it's so power packed. A lot of people on the call are struck and don't even know what to say. So that's what I have to say. Maybe you could take another 5 minutes, but we would come back to you again if you would oblige us. Thank you.
Right. All right. Now to manage the time, and because I would like to respond to questions if there are any, possibly 2 questions if there are any. I'm going to pronounce this word. These are words that we commonly mispronounce when we have our meetings. And I'm going to pronounce them, and then I will stop sharing. Right? The number 1, we say Toastmaster this, Toastmaster that. It's Toastmaster. Toastmaster Equity. Toastmaster Craig. All right? Number 2, professional, not professional. A human resources professional. Number 3, we misplace the primary stress. We say colleague. It's colleague. My colleague and I. My colleagues, not colleagues. That is a fundamental misplacement of stress. Next, we say president. President. That S will turn into a Z. President. Next, we say evaluation. Evaluation. Next, we say challenge. Challenge. Challenging. Next, we say amiable. It's amiable, not amiable. Amiable. The next, we say grammarian. 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 And next is a French word, and it enters the vocabulary of English during the Norman conquest of England in 1066. Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. The accent or the primary stress is on the last syllable. Entrepreneur. And then we say general evaluator. General evaluator. Secretary of our club. Secretary of our club. The approximate secretary of our club. Next, we say of, the president of our club, the president of our club. That F turns into a V when it comes to pronunciation. Next, we say communicate. Communicate. It requires a palatal-like sound. Communicate. Communication. All right. And then last but not least, we say education. Education. Or you can say education, education, education. All right. So my last tip for you is practice, practice, practice. An English proverb says that practice makes perfect. Practice is a learning process, and practice will build brains in your muscles. And that is why practice makes perfect. I will relinquish control now to give room to questions or comments before I relinquish control. Thank you all very kindly.
Thank you so much. Please, if our hands aren't too busy, can we unmute and give a round of applause to Toastmaster Craig for Toastmaster Craig.
Toastmaster.
Wow. I don't know if you.
Beautiful.
This is a great section, I must say.
I feel about today's segment. I'm super excited. Okay, so without further ado, let's go to 2 questions. We're going to take only 2 questions for the purpose of time. I have written in the chat box that questions should be typed there, but I haven't seen any questions yet. Please, 2 questions only. Is there anyone on this call that has a question for Toastmaster Craig? I have to start practicing what I've learned. Is there anyone on the call? Yeah, so I see a thumbs up. Great, that means I'm doing well. Okay, so I'm still looking at the chat box for questions.
It could be comments. If there are no questions, it could be
Or
comments.
Exactly.
Or feedback.
Yes, questions or comments. Is there anyone speaking?
So, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'll just like to say thank you very much, Toastmaster Craig. This was eye-opening. My question would be for people who speak very fast, right? And are actually learning the correct way to pronounce their words. Are there 1 or 2 tips you can give to them to help them while giving a speech? They're normally, or I should say they're fast talkers like I am. I speak very fast. Is there a way, or are there things we could do to help ourselves when we practice pronouncing this word so that even when we speak at our normal pace, the words come out correctly? I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Well, I want to assume that I have an understanding of your question. You're talking about what you can do. You speak quickly and what you can do to pronounce your words properly. Did I recapitulate your question accurately?
Indeed.
Right. Well, my number 1 tip is that it is not a good idea to speak quickly. When you speak quickly, then you are susceptible to grammatical errors, lexical errors, pronunciation errors. When you speak with the pace of a king or a queen, you are in charge of your grammar, you are in charge of your pronunciation, you are in charge of your word selection or how you use words or vocabulary. The last tip, what I want to recommend is slow down, and you can write it on a piece of paper before you approach a lecture and you have it in front of you. Slow down. Don't speak quickly. Speaking quickly does not equate, or it's not tantamount to fluency or eloquence. The other tip I would like to share with you in the context of time management is say tongue twisters every day. I am thinking of 3,333 things. I am thinking of 3,333 things. Tongue twisters will slow you down. They will give you confidence, they will clarify your pronunciation, and they will give your speaking voice more elegance. That's my response to your question. I hope I answered it satisfactorily.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Tongue twisters will help slow down. So good. We'll practice more tongue twisters. Thank you so much.
All right. So then, thank you, Toastmaster Tai. I'll quickly go to the next question that was typed on the chat box, and it's from Toastmaster Ngozi Obudi. She says, please, can we have resource material?
All right, I will communicate with Toastmaster Ekuchi.
Okay, all right. Toastmaster Ngozi, I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll quickly just read the comments. Toastmaster Olufumi says, feedback. This was an amazingly awesome session. Toastmaster Craig, when is part 2 coming up? So I would refer to Toastmaster Uche's what he first said about Toastmaster Craig coming back. So we're expecting that to happen. And when?
Well, I haven't.
And time is locked in. Please go ahead, Toastmaster Craig.
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea. I have a tremendously swamped speaking and training schedule, going to different continents, different countries via Zoom around the world, speaking and training on a daily basis. As a result of that, I haven't the foggiest idea when I would be able to return. Certainly not the month of December, because I'm completely booked for the month of December. I haven't the foggiest idea. That's my response to that question. But I shall look forward to it.
Okay. So we'll keep our fingers. so much. I think we have gotten to 1 minute past 1 o'clock. So I think we should round up with this segment. Okay, so Toastmaster Olufemi says, please, can we get a link? She sells tea. It's a good one. I remember doing that as well. So I will communicate.
Toastmaster Joy, is it just me? I can't hear her.
I can't hear her either.
Okay. Toastmaster Joy, if you can hear us, I think your network may just have failed you. But thank you so much for anchoring and fasting this session to this point. Toastmaster Craig, this was a beautiful session. I'm sure a lot of us had gotten much more than we thought we were going to get today. Apologies for running much more than the time we had planned. It's supposed to end by 1 p.m. But just like Toastmaster Craig has said, we started like 10 minutes later than we had planned to start. So next time when we have a resource person, as much as possible, try to round off work a few minutes before 12 so you could join, settle in, and get so much. You will agree with me, Toastmasters, that today has been a really wonderful tips and tricks session. We can't thank you enough, Toastmaster Craig, for taking out time from your busy schedule, going all around the world via Zoom. Thank God for technology. And your busy schedule, you've been able to find time to speak to teach us. Sorry for putting you also on the spot to try to get you to speak with us, to come back again to do this. But really, what better way to get someone as busy as you when making a commitment to so many of us on the call. Thank you so much for coming to this meeting. This is the first time we're having you. We haven't had you in any of our regular meetings, and we've gotten you into a tips and tricks session, and we really appreciate this. I would just like to know if is this okay if people want to reach you, for example, if they want to know more about phonetics, pronunciation, if they need to, if there are things that they need to do outside of here, is there a way to reach you? If it's possible, can you, maybe put your number, or they can get straight to Joy? What you just tell us, whatever means is possible. I know you run a clinic, a communications clinic. If anyone wants to, get across, please, would be happy if you can give us your contact so that we can, pass it on to the rest of the team. I'd like to end by saying that you answered a lot of questions today. One of the very big things I learned from today's meeting is the fact that proper pronunciation and grammar can help sparkle or add some sparkle to your speech, also increase your influence and give you, some confidence when you're going to speak to people. Thank you so much for giving us these nuggets. We would incorporate them into our speaking, and we hope that by the next time you meet us, a lot of us would have said pronouncing these things the way you have taught us. At least we'll start with Toastmaster, with all of those pronunciations. Thank you so much. I'll open the floor to anyone who wants to make any comments, and then we'll take it, we'll close. Just one more comment, because I think that some people have things to say. One comment, please.
My pleasure, sir. And my contact is already in the chat box. That's my contact. You can reach me with that contact. You might want to call me or ring my line, or you might want to reach me via WhatsApp. Anytime.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for spending time with us, your lunchtime. Please go back to work and practice all of those pronunciations that you've learned from Toastmaster Craig. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Our next meeting is on
Bye,
Tuesday.
everyone.
Oh, yeah. Yes, our next meeting is on Tuesday on the 7th. We're going to have a wonderful session. We're going to be doing a panel session where we'll be talking about self-leadership. And I'm also using this opportunity to invite you, Toastmaster Craig. We're having a panel session. We'll have leaders coming to speak and very experienced Toastmasters as evaluators. So looking forward to 7th, which is on Tuesday. It's not very far, next week, Tuesday. So come expectant. We'll also have a wonderful session. So thank you, Toastmaster Tari, for bringing that up. Bye, everyone.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Toastmasters,
you.
we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks having you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ngozi. I'm sure you enjoyed
I
the
have
session.
my time to be the pronunciation counter. So when
I was afraid. I didn't know how to speak again after when he was done. I just felt that everything I was going to say was going to be judged. And I didn't want to be judged. I just said, can I just
when you said
calm down? I just take it
people
slowly.
make comment, I told myself I'm not making any comment, not today of all days. I should keep my
Nobody wanted to speak again because they just feel like if you make any comments, they're going to judge it on that
not
altar.
about this, because the next day he will come, he will use it for example. I'm just laughing
All right,
and saying, not me. All right, have a great day.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.